Alright, so continuing where we left off, I got some more models that I've done periodically through the time, and kind of before I actually did the final move here to this location that I'll go ahead and show you guys now. And the first car I have here is another SP Union Pacific box car, as you can see, and this one happens to be a real rust bucket, grime bucket actually. You can see what I did with this one first off was I gave it a nice heavy weathering, faded it a little bit, gave it a nice dull coating, and then I added all the graffiti to it, darkened the ribs on this car, which is probably the most time consuming part. And then I did the graffiti, which is a mixture of decal and hand painting, kind of just a mix there, so it came out pretty good. And then on this tag here you can see I did the patch out and then the new stencil. As you can see, that looks really cool, and then it's just mostly gang scribble like these cars usually pick up. You can see I did a little scratching around the door too, and even on the Union Pacific logo there. But I think it looks pretty cool. And then here's this side. So that looks pretty cool. You can see they patched the side for the new data too, and then just like on the other side, or on the opposite side, new stenciling there. And just a real grime bucket covered in graffiti like these. These cars usually, like I said, they usually pick up a lot of graffiti, these Midwestern box cars, so it's important when you model any kind of Union Pacific box car, any old SP or Golden West car like this, coat the heck out of that thing in graffiti to make it look right, otherwise it will not look prototypical. So that's your bro tip of the day. Add graffiti. Simple as that. So, anyways, I think this car looks pretty cool, and this is part of the Genesis line, so they have all that nice detailing as always. But the only thing I got to do to this one still is add the safety stripes to it. So I got to do the primer spats, or the primer patches anyways, and then put the safety striping over everything else. So that's the only thing I got to do to this car still. But other than that, it's about done. So I really like it though. It's another nice Union Pacific box car to join my fleet of cars. Now this next car here is one I recently got at a train show, and this is an MDW box car, a relatively large car. You can see here these are really cool. I think these are related to auto parts, by the way, but this is car number 6233, and you can see I added the safety stripes, did the weathering, faded it a little bit, added some custom graffiti, and you can see the majority of the grime is around the door on this car. As of pictures, I tried to replicate that, and I think it looks pretty good. You got all the gang scribble on the sides, but overall really cool looking car. Here's this side. You can see there was a little bit more graffiti on this side, but they power washed it off. You can see there's just some remnants of the spray paint on this side, so I thought that was pretty cool, representing that. But you can see it's just mostly gang scribble on this car, like I said. But I think it looks really cool overall. Really, really nice car. Now the roof is probably my favorite part on this car because I did some oil paint weathering on the roof here. You can see I did some specks, or really the kind of the corrosion at the top on these panels where it's basically the paint peel, or not the paint, but the metal just kind of chips away and it just starts to rust really badly. So you can see I did some effects with some kind of a mixture of acrylic paints and some oil paints to do those effects, and I think they look really cool, as you can see. Really, really nice. But the roof definitely looks really awesome on this car. I really like that technique, and the box car itself looks really cool. So there's another plain Jane box car that is in my fleet now. Ready to earn some mileage, hauling some auto parts. So there's that car. That's a Walthers Gold Line car, I believe. Now this next car is a really cool short line, one of the former St. Mary's car. It's still patched for St. Mary's, but I don't believe it's still owned by them. I think it's only insurance. I don't remember, whatever. But it's an Intermountain box car that I picked up at a train show recently. Now look at this, guys. This is pretty cool, huh? So what I did with this one, I did all the graffiti. Faded this. I had to fade this car down quite a bit just to make it look good, because these real St. Mary's box cars are very, very, very faded at this point. And the Intermountain cars, obviously they model them brand new, and the paint is very, very dark orange. So I had to fade this down quite a bit to get it to the faded orange that you see on this. So I added obviously I did the fading, added the primer patches, did the custom patching, all the rust streaking, all the grime, added the primer patches for the safety stripes, did the custom graffiti, and then you can see I really went in detail with the door scratches because I really wanted to focus on those door scratches. You can see they're pretty fresh. They haven't really started to streak down yet, but they're there, and I think that looks awesome. I really like that. The St. Mary's logo is beat up. You can see that's nicely faded. Got the new car data there. And then on end one, you can see, again, nicely faded. Got the kick up on the ends. So on this end too, And then as we move on to this side, you can see on this side you got the graffiti, and you got the safety stripes over the graffiti itself, the replacement door with the primer patches and the safety striping, and then there's the scratches and the faded logo again. So that looks really cool. I really like this box car. I think it came out awesome. I'm really proud of it. Okay, so as we look at the roof here, the roof came out especially nice. You can see I did some really nice pitting and really just heavily corroded areas on this roof here, and probably one of the best boxcar roofs roof representations I've done in a while. But what I basically did to achieve this effect was I used the acrylic paints first and just did the basic outline and built it up in layers to represent the dark areas, like you see, and then I followed behind with the thinned oil paints to do the streaking and basically the rust halos around it to create these effects. And you can see just how nice that looks. It's amazing what you can do. It took me a little bit of time, but it was definitely well worth the effort, and I think it looks just absolutely incredible. The roof on this car, I think it's a really nice car, and I'm really proud of it. It looks really good, so I really like it. But really nice Intermountain car. This is my first Intermountain box car too, but they're really good quality, and I'm definitely going to buy more when I get the opportunity. But like I said, really proud of this car. But you can see also I tried to do some mismatch, kind of the positioning of the safety stripes here. You can see how it's kind of a little bit different how they positioned them. Also something I took note on the prototype, and I kind of wanted to represent that obviously on this model. And I think that looks really cool. But definitely proud of this model. I think it looks awesome. So there's my St. Mary's box car. Like I said, really proud of that. Go ahead and set that aside. And now I'm actually going to save these last cars for, I'm going to save the box cars for last, but I'm going to focus on some hoppers here. The first hopper I have to show you guys here is this custom patched out EEC grain hopper. And this is EEC 4497, and this is a fictitious hopper, but I did get some inspiration from seeing some prototype photos of a different car. I'm not sure the actual reporting mark, so I went ahead and used EEC for this, since EEC does have some leased grain hoppers like this, similar to this anyways. And what I did with this one, this is an Intermountain hopper that I really heavily weathered, as you can see. Did all the effects with some acrylic paints, chalk, oil painting, all kinds of stuff like that. And then I did the patching in various stages, like the patching on the sides here was all done with acrylics. And then I sprayed all that, masked it off, built it up in layers. And you can see I got the various layers of the patching, like I said. And then you got the more recent patching for the new reporting marks on this car. And then you got the primer patches for the safety stripes, as you can see, which look really cool. And then the whole underbody especially is really nicely grimed up. You can see all the kick up on the underbody there for around the trucks, and like I said, the grime spray basically, and then just the major corrosion around the hatches on these bays here, and then the spray from the rails, and just the layers of grime alone on the underbody. It just looks really good. So I really took my time to make this car look nice. I'm really happy with it. And as you can see on the top here, the heavy corrosion on the top around the walkways. And something very important you always want to do with these cars, you can see this one has new primer painted hatches at the top where they actually replaced them. But if you do a car that has the original hatches on it, and you're weathering the car, it's a like I said, a grime bucket. Make sure that you keep the hatches relatively clean, because those stay clean on these cars. So that's, you can see, is what I kind of try to do here. So that looks pretty good. But you can see, did the patching on the ends. You got the kick up as well on the ends here, but looks pretty good. And then on this side, a little bit more of a variation in the patching, as you can see. And then I add a little graffiti too to kind of mix things up a little bit. But you can see how nice that patching looks and how good the car itself looks. I'm very proud of this. So this is a really nice looking patch out car that I got now, and will be hauling grain on my roster. So I think it looks pretty cool. But there's the first Intermountain grain hopper that I did. And now this next one, I went into a little more detail with. I wanted to model a very specific prototype here that I've been seeing lately. And this one is AOK 1107-6. And this is a C&W covered hopper, a former C&W covered hopper. And what you saw in this particular style of car was what they did at a point in time. These were originally the C&W the dark green C&W paint on these. And what they later on, they repainted all these cars in the safety yellow, And what ended up happening, since they didn't really do that good of a paint job on these, really an effort to save money, they just put the safety yellow directly over all the old graphics, all the old green paint, and that was about it. But what ended up happening over the years is that the green paint started chipping, or anyways, the yellow paint, the safety yellow, started chipping away, and what you saw was the deterioration and the revealing of the original green paint underneath the yellow. And so I really tried to make that effort to show you, to kind of reveal the green paint underneath. So what I did was I did all that by hand. I made a custom green paint and then applied it by hand in various layers in certain areas. Kind of chipped it up a little bit with a wet brush to make these sharp borders to represent like areas of the peeling paint, and just worked it in layers, like I said. You can see the faded C&W Herald there. That looks really good. But like I said, just really I tried to make the effort to make that green chip paint effect, and I think that looks awesome on this car. I'm very proud of that. Got the custom AOK patching in green, and then the new number is in black, and then you got the safety stripes over it, and then you got various rust spots, some rust streaking, and just like the St. Mary's box car up here, I really had to fade this one down too to get it to the color I was looking for, because these are, like I said, the safety yellow is very bright on these cars. And Intermountain, when Intermountain paints these are very, very glossy and very bright yellow like the real thing. So I had to fade this down quite a bit with a little bit of a whitewash, and then to be able to do anything else on this. So that, I think there's a lot of time in this car, and I'm very proud of how it came out. But there's the first end and the second end. And then on this side of the car, you can see the patching is slightly different. It's a little bit bigger lettering on this side, which is a nice variation. And again, the effort of the paint chipping at the tops there around the ribs, as you can see. Now, something else that's very important to keep in mind when you do these cars, always keep these ribs clean, because these ribs don't really get too dirty. The car bodies might get dirty, but the ribs don't so much. But they'll get scratched up and stuff, but they usually stay pretty clean, as you'll notice. So I really made the effort to keep the ribs clean on this particular car. But this is another car I'm just very proud of. This is my first bleeder, so I'm really proud of it and how it came out. Really like it. And there's the underbody for you guys there. Wheels are nicely grimed up, as you can see on that bad boy. But yeah, there's my C&W bleeder car. Really happy with how that turned out. I'll go ahead and set these guys aside and move on to some other cars. So these next two cars are some the first of their kind on my fleet, but I've been seeing these a lot lately, and that's why I figured I needed to model them. But I got some Exactrail Trim Cool reefers here, and this first one here is an ARMN, obviously a Union Pacific reefer, and just true to the prototypes, the cars themselves are relatively clean, but they're caked in graffiti, as you can see. So I did various stages of graffiti, from hand painting, drawing, tagging, really made from, like I said, hand painting, decals, scribbling with pen, paint pens, markers, all kinds of stuff like that to create these various effects for the graffiti. But you can see it looks really good. And then I put the safety striping over the graffiti, just like as of prototype photos. They put the safety stripes over the graffiti. But like I said, not too crazy on these cars. They're pretty easy to do, but the time is really spent doing the graffiti alone on these cars. But you can see I did the kick up on the ends. And then on this side, here's the graffiti to this side of this car. You can see the patching on this side, along with the patching for the safety striping. And how good that turned out. I think that looks really good. So there's both sides to this one, and then here's the end of this one. You can see the kick up on that. But like I said, these are Exactrail reefers, and these cars are really nice. I got these for like 20 bucks a piece on eBay, which was awesome. So that's the first car, and then the second one here, again, another nice grind up a little bit, you can see, but still pretty clean. But you really want to fade these down just a little bit so the paint's not so glossy. But then I did the graffiti on it, as you can see. Added all the graffiti, all the hand done graffiti, and then a mixture of the decals too, a little bit here and there. And then the safety stripes added, of course. And then on this side, pretty much the same. But I like it. I'm really proud of how these came out. I think they look really good. I'm very happy with them. I probably won't buy any more of these, but I'd like to get some of the Intermountain, some of the early ARMN reefers. If you guys, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. They're kind of a thinner box car that are a bit longer, and but they're the early refrigerator cars. So I hope to get a few of those and I have it paired up, so I'll probably get 3 of those to mix in with these two to put in a consist. But there's my reefer cars. Like I said, really like those cars. I think they came out really nice. Now these